I did it! I did it, everyone! I did it. I'm a big deal. You know I'm a big deal. More importantly, KWA knows I'm a big deal. Hey. So I am, officially, as of Monday, I think. I think Monday would be my official day. I'm a KWA law enforcement ambassador. What? Why would they do that? I don't know. Maybe because they need more people that are out of their... Maybe because they need people that are out of their mind? Yeah. Okay, so I am a KWA law enforcement ambassador. That's official. I'm not like an employee, so I'm not hired by them. It's more of like a contractor, collab. They call me when they need me kind of thing. So I don't work in the sense that like I'm an employee, like I have to commute every day to LA kind of a thing. But if they're like, hey, we need you to go do this thing for this, help this agency out. I'm like, okay, tell me where to go. Tell me where to go. Tell me where to go. So that's cool. Let's go all the way back to about July? July sounds about right. I get a call from Roy with Speed QB because I got his number because I got it like that. He gives me a call and says, hey man, KWA is doing this commercial. They're shooting this commercial like an internet commercial. Like they didn't plan on putting it on TV. Like an internet video, more of a video, I guess you could say. Like they're planning on doing this promo video for some new guns coming out. And one of the things they want to do is they want to have people react to it and film the reactions. And I suggested your name, and they're probably going to go with it. I'm like, cool. That was cool. Thank you, Roy, by the way. Thank you for that. He didn't have to do that. Like, I'm just some idiot with a beard and, you know, some Amazon backdrops and whatever. Didn't have to do that. It was very nice of him. I very much appreciate that. So I do that. I go through I do the reaction thing, and it's currently on the KWA YouTube channel. It's called something specific. Hang on. I should have prepped this earlier, but I didn't. So shut up. KWA Airsoft. It's called Airsoft YouTubers Reacts to QRF Trailer. It's on the KWA Insider. It's KWA Insider YouTube channel. So I do that. And that was cool. That was a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, cool. That's probably at the end. Okay, bye. Out of nowhere, I just randomly decide one night to take a shot in the dark. Pardon me. Burpee. To take a shot in the dark, and I throw up on my Instagram story, and some of you may have seen it. What did I exactly? Something to the effect of my dream job in Airsoft would be with KWA as a law enforcement ambassador, helping law enforcement agencies integrate Airsoft products into their training plans, which is something I had done, and we learned a lot of lessons. We had a lot of successes and failures with that. Keep in mind, the sole reason I got into Airsoft was through the professional world, was through law enforcement, and was through some stuff I was doing as a private firearms instructor through my own little beer money business. So I didn't start a gamer. I started as just a dude that was using Airsoft as a training tool. That's where I had started. And everything else came later. The field came later. You know, this whole thing came later. Airsoft for me started as a agency trainer for active shooter response tactics. That's where I started. And we had bought originally KJW pistols, which I'm going to tell you right now are garbage. They're garbage. They're not good. The best M9 out there on the Airsoft market, and I've said this for years, has always been the KWA PTP M9 series. It's the best M9 pistol you're going to get on the market. So I had one of them. That was also my first gun. So and KWA had always had like a training section, like a law enforcement training section on their website. So that was always something that I knew that KWA was interested in. So I was always, even before I started getting big into Airsoft, I was always kind of like, dude, it'd be really cool if I could either work for them or work with them or do something that combines my knowledge of airsoft with my knowledge of law enforcement training. So that's something I'd been wanting to do before I did anything else. Up until this point, like all the product promos I've done, like all the me talking up Speed QB and talking up KWA and GG, all this, I have never had a sponsorship with anyone. I'm not sponsored. I almost in most ways refuse a sponsorship. I don't want it. I've just always believed in those products and thought I would give honest testimonial about those products, especially when it came to the professional world and how it would relate to the professional world, because that was always my first thing. So, time goes by, I'm doing the YouTube thing, the Instagram thing, the Airsoft Ministry thing, this, that, and the other. And I guess I kind of built a reputation doing that. So, let's go back to last month, August. I shoot the React video and submit it, and everyone really liked it, and they were like, hey, this is really great, thank you. I assumed I would never hear from anyone ever again. I post that story on my Instagram, said, hey, I'd really like to be a KWA law enforcement ambassador, which didn't exist. I just sort of was like, if I was to put a title to it, what would be like an ambassador to law enforcement? Or it would probably more technically be titled as law enforcement ambassador. That sounds like it would make more sense than any kind of other thing you could really describe it as. Like liaison isn't really an appropriate term, more like an ambassador, I guess. Like not really like an LNO, just more of an ambassadorial. Yeah. Anyway, so things and stuff and words and things. So they hit me up. They hit me back. KWA Instagram messaged me back and said, hey, give us your contact information. We'd like to talk to you about this. Like, what? Why? I'm out of my mind. Are you guys crazy? Are you crazier than me? There's no way. So, it worked. First of all, suck it, LinkedIn. So it worked. And I had emailed them. Gave him my phone number. I think I emailed him also. I get a call maybe like a couple days later. What was I doing? Oh, I missed the first call. I was playing Insurgency. I was playing video games. And I didn't hear my phone ring. And I check it. And it said KWA Performance. Like, oh, dear Lord, I think I screwed up my opportunity. So I called him back, go through the little phone menu. And guest is like, for law enforcement, press whatever. It's like, see what happens with this. Boop. Hi, I got a call from this number. And it was Thomas, their marketing guy. And he was like, hey, just so happens that around the time you posted that, we were sort of talking about trying to bring that whole thing together. Because they were trying to rebrand isn't the right word. Revitalize, I think. Maybe focus more efforts into the training world. Because if you look at everyone in Airsoft that makes airsoft guns, that makes products, that makes things, not fields and none of that makes airsoft things, particularly guns, no one has focused on that training piece. G&G hasn't done it. Lancer hasn't done it. Classic Army hasn't done it. Meaning, you can go to any of their websites and look for a specific piece that relates to, hey, we also deal with law enforcement and marketing and military. Now, they might, if you're an agency, they might say, we'll give you a discount and all this stuff. But if you go to KWA's website, there is a specific section for law enforcement and military training and implementation of their products into a training environment. They're the only company that's done that. They've had that piece on their website for years, off the top, several years. Because even when I was still working as a cop, before I quit my job, I still knew that KWA was the way to go as far as that, because they had that presence. So that was something that was actively on their mind, in theory. Because it wouldn't really make sense to throw that on their website if that's not something that they were actively trying to pursue. Like, that wouldn't make business sense for them to do that. So, it was just something that was sort of always on my mind, that I was always interested in, that I always wanted to do. But if you look on, like, if you go to the KWA website and, like, look at their careers and the jobs that they're hiring for, there's no law enforcement ambassador. The reason that is because it's not really a full-time position that they have within like their MTO positions or within their hiring. Like, that's not really a job you can apply for. Even if it was a job I'd apply for, yeah, it'd be a cool job to have, but it would require me to move from NorCal and live in Southern California. I ain't doing that. I'm telling you right now, I'm probably never going to move for a job ever again. I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson in the Army, learned my lesson as a cop. I was never happy. One of the reasons why I quit my job as a cop to move back home was because I missed my family. I missed being home. That's one of the main reasons why I quit being a cop in the first place. And I was only working maybe an hour and a half away from here, but I hated it. So, even if they were, it could have been like, hey, we're interested in hiring you for this full-time position, this full-time salaried position. We will hire you right now based on what we know from your social media presence and, whatever. Obviously, some verification and some files, some forms would have to be filled out. We'll offer you a full-time position, but you have to come down to LA. I'd have told them no. I'd be like, nope, sorry, not doing it. Kind of a dream job, not in a dream location. There's no such thing as a dream job outside of 916 for me. It doesn't exist. For me, a dream job is within the 916 area, within my home. That makes sense? Of course it makes sense. Anyway, so they schedule a Skype. Did we Skype? Yeah, like a webinar, not a webinar. Video conference, a video call. That we Skype call. I meet with Tom and Thomas. There's two of them. So there's Tom and Thomas. They're two different people. Don't confuse them. And I'm talking to them like, hey, I've got this, this idea. Before that, I had sent them some stuff. I was some training material ideas, some PowerPoint, some ideas. I was like, hey, I noticed you guys don't yet have this piece and you don't yet have this piece. And these pieces are very important to law enforcement agencies. And they're like, oh, cool. We hadn't really thought of that, or we had thought about it, but maybe not in the detail that I had. It's like, oh, cool. We're already on the same page. That's groovy. That's kicking chicken. We're good. So that helped. So like right even before, I knew right going before the video conference call, I was already like, I'm just going to give them all my ideas right now over through email and some PowerPoints and some files and stuff. So they know like where my head is. So they know them like, hey, this is a thing that I really want to do because it sounds fun for me. So there's that. So do the web call and that goes over well. In about a week and a half or so goes by. They're like, hey, you're it. Fill these forms out, and here's the details of the events we want you to go to, or that you could be going to, stuff like that. Hang on, I'm gonna read this email real quick to make sure I can. So if you've dealt with KWA on the business side, they don't piss around with. They're very secretive, which is why I like them. I like that. So you're signing NDAs quick. Okay. So one of the first thing that they want me to go do is there's an organization called the International Association of Chiefs of Police. So theoretically, that's for all the police chiefs, I guess, across the world. I was never a police chief, so I don't really know. They're having a conference in Chicago in the fall, in October, end of October, the weekend after AirsoftCon. They would like me to go with them and help represent the brand and help kind of be kind of a middle person between KWA and law enforcement. So in theory, I guess I would be standing around like in a really sweet polo, and maybe I should trim my beard up. And I'm gonna need to get slacks. I'm gonna have to go to Walmart today at some point. I gotta get slacks, and like I don't think I could just show up in jeans and flip flops. Like I think that would be really frowned upon. Tom might hit me. So there's that. So I would be going to there and just talking with anyone at this event about incorporating KWA products into their training plans for their home agencies, in essence. And theoretically, like any police agency in Northern California, like say Sac Sheriff calls KWA and say, hey, we would like to use KWA products for our training. Like Tom or Thomas would shoot me a text or call me or email me and go, hey bro, Sac Sheriff says they're interested in this. Go over there and talk to them, answer their questions, look amazing with a beard. Yeah. Do your thing, work your magic. So that's killer. I'm super stoked. Obviously, I'm being well compensated for my time. I'm not able to discuss what that compensation is, but it makes perfect sense to assume that they're not going to just be like, hey, do you want to go to Chicago? Okay, buy your own ticket and figure it out and we'll let you in for free. Like, well, I mean, maybe that sounds cool, but, so there's not a whole lot that I really have to pay for. And they're helping me get there. So that's cool. I'm not just going to hop in my 99 Tacoma and drive to Chicago and drive back. I'm not just going to show up in an airport and be like, y'all got any tickets to Chicago? I needs to go. Yeah, so that's not happening. Although, perfectly honest, if they were like, hey, you got him, I'd probably be like, you know what? Could be fun. I got a family in Michigan. Why not? So that's cool. I'm super stoked. What is the future of that going to be? I have no idea. No idea. Let me reread this email real quick. Oh. Okay, yeah, cool. See, I read the email to make sure. I read my notes. So what will that future of me being with KWA entail? I have no idea, but it sounds really cool. Really cool. It sounds so much. To me, it's fun because if you look at what that task is, as a training law enforcement, being a trainer itself is not easy. And it doesn't matter if you work at Starbucks and you're a shift trainer, you already know that not everyone is necessarily cut out for that position. You have to not only have people skills, but you have to be proficient in that job, proficient in people skills, and then be proficient in teaching. That's not easy to do. Like I've known professional trainers that suck at their job, but because they were certified, they're like, dude, just keep him on. We need him to sign this paperwork so that's one less piece of liability we have to worry about. I've known professional trainers that suck at their job, but they were certified, so good luck. So I have a fair amount of experience in airsoft law enforcement training and using airsoft in law enforcement training. I'm not tooting my own horn, but that's kind of that's not an easy thing to find. Beard hair is going nuts up the nose right now. See, can you see yeah. I gotta trim my beard and hair again, and my nose hairs. I get furry up. I get real fuzzy and furrier and stuff up in here. Anyway, this is a rant, baby. What do you want? You want this to get edited? Turn it off and go away. So it's not only teaching law enforcement, but teaching law enforcement things like force scenarios, active shooter response scenarios, and substituting live fire for airsoft. Look, there's an art to that. There's an art to training. There's an art to being a trainer, let alone using these airsoft products, there's no such thing as an airsoft law enforcement instructor course. If you go to a post-firearms instructor course, they're not going over airsoft. If you go to active shooter response instructor course, they're not going over airsoft. They're just not. I think Simunitions has an instructor course, but they're super expensive. Super expensive. So airsoft is super cheap. Way more fun. And kids do it. So right off the bat, you know it's safe for your officers because kids regularly do it on weekends. Right off the bat, there's one of your pieces right there for liability. What if they get hurt? Just look at this Instagram. This 12-year-old boy is got a giant rifle and is running around getting shot in the arm all the time. He's fine. He's 12. So there's that. So there's a lot of, I don't know if semantical details is an accurate way to describe them, but there's a lot of pieces to using airsoft as a training tool that firearms instructors aren't maybe necessarily hip to, and that regular recreational airsofters aren't going to understand either. So you really have to have a good balance of both worlds to really know what's going on with that. You could, theoretically, take an airsofter. You could take any airsoft celebrity, some super high-level tech and all that, and throw him to a police department, and he's going to kind of be able to talk about the generic airsoft piece, but specifically strengths and weaknesses involved in a training environment, they're not going to understand. Same thing, you could take a retired SWAT captain who's never shot an airsoft gun a day of his life, and you can have him talk to agencies about training, but about how to implement airsoft products into a training environment is something that's going to elude him, just because he doesn't have that level of experience. You need both worlds. So there's that. So I'm stoked. This is cool. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Really excited. Hopefully I'll be able to use my old unit, maybe like my old brigade or my old MP battalion in the Guard, see if they have a need for it so I could kind of start like warming up, start practicing like, not really pitches, but like kind of going over like how I would interact and, you know, how I would demonstrate things and stuff like that. Maybe I can go to my old agency, be like, hey, check out this beard. Yeah, suckers. So there's that. So that's cool. I'm super excited.